Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Supernatural episode 1514 titled Last Holiday, which premiered Thursday, October 8th, 2020 on the CW. Recording, well, here's the thing. Okay, originally I'm on the East Coast, right? So at 8 o'clock, I was ready to watch it, but then my cable connection kept on glitching and disconnecting to the point that I had to reboot my whole system. So then it's like, great, the one time I actually want to watch something on time and my internet for my TV is not doing it for me. And then I had PVR hoping that maybe it'd catch it, but it also records the glitches that I was getting. So then I'm like, great, now I gotta wait to find a West Coast signal, which I did, and I just finished watching. So it's after midnight for me, so 15 minutes after I've watched the full episode uninterrupted, thanks to the West Coast time shifting I was able to find. So that's why it's a little later that you might be getting this video on YouTube, because it's a lot later for me to edit it and such, because otherwise at this moment at midnight my video would probably be rendering at this point. Anyways, long story short, I'm ready to talk about it. It's also been 6 months since we were supposed to get this episode due to COVID. But I'm ready to talk about it. So huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other videos are up on the screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. I'm not going to do a timer today because, again, it's been a while. So I don't know if we'll just see how it goes. But I really want to get right into it as well. So let's start with what happened in this episode. So timeline-wise, I'm assuming it's shortly after the events of 1513. I don't know, like, date-wise, because I do not recall if any dates were said, but it's definitely, Jack is still reeling from the fact that he has just gotten his soul back, which happened at the end of 1513. So that's something there. It's definitely long enough for Castiel to be away. I don't know if they mentioned where he was off to, but he wasn't in the episode to begin with. So that's something. Don't know if that helps timeline wise, but there's that. Episode reminder though, I guess you could say it's a reference to the title. It's pretty much an episode that's full of holidays. I know it's something I've been hoping for throughout the course of the show, whether or not, are we going to get another holiday episode? Are we going to get any type of holidays? We pretty much got them all. So it's like we got Christmas. We've got a few Christmas ones. We had the full Christmas one in season 3. We had a 2-part Christmas one in season 14. And then we got a bunch of holiday ones over the years as well. But we finally got some of the fun aspects of those holidays, as well as we got 4th of July, and then we got Sam's birthday. We got a little bit of Jack's birthday as well. Kind of wishing we got a Dean's birthday one, but at least we got someone's birthday. I'm all good, because that's also another thing as well. One thing that was freaking me out though is the fact that they kept calling it Last Holiday. I don't know if that was just in reference to the fact that it's the final season, so this is the last chance we're going to get to see them in holidays, or if it's more of reference to the characters and how this is meant to be their last chance of celebrating holidays. I don't know. That second option has me more worried than the first option of it just being a reference to it being the final season and it's the last time we're going to get a holiday check. So there's that. We'll talk about a little bit more about that in a moment. But episode breakdowns or storylines, it's pretty much, I guess you can kind of claim that there's 2 storylines. They are intermixed with each other. But first one is pretty much a full-powered bunker, and the second one is ulterior motives. Kind of explain what I mean about that. First storyline with the full-powered bunker, I'm kind of having it that they find this wood nymph when they're trying to reset the system in the bunker, get released. And this wood nymph goes by Mrs. Butters or Mrs. B, and she's unleashed, and with her release allows the bunker to go in full power. So certain things that were working before are now able to work, like that map table is now acting like an actual radar system to track down monsters, so that's now working. Also with Mrs. B back in the bunker, she's now taking care of the boys, so that comes with home-cooked meals, holiday traditions that she keeps up with, packed lunches when they're out going to a hunt, and then the whole monster radar thing happening as well. So we get the start of it, and then we get like a montage of the boys getting their packed lunches from Mrs. B. Mrs. B telling Sam what the monster is for the monster radar, and then we see them kicking down a lot of doors to kind of insinuate the fact that they're going in guns blazing, knowing where these monsters are instead of trying to chase after them before someone else is killed. So there's that, and then they'd come home to a different holiday. So first off was with Christmas, second was Thanksgiving, and if you notice in Thanksgiving, as they're passing the food around, Dean is kind of having, like, you know how people usually do the two pencils to act like the teeth of the walrus? Dean was doing that with the green beans. So that's a little something there. And then we got Halloween with all of them participating in the pumpkin carving. And then we got the 4th of July with all the flags around them. And then we got Sam's birthday. So we have Sam wearing a happy birthday crown. We got Jack and Dean wearing the party hats. Mrs. B having her own little, the noisemakers, or those, I don't know what they're called actually, but like those party favors and stuff. And Dean making his own requests for his own type of birthday of being the Rice Krispie kind, I believe. And then Mrs. B joking about Dean being too old to want to celebrate his birthday, and he was just not having it. And then she told him, like, oh no, I've baked you something a little special for you, and he was just overexcited about that, which was pretty cool in itself. So that's something there. I thought that was pretty cool because even though this episode was supposed to air back in March, I found it pretty cool because they were covering holidays. Today, the air date is actually the Thursday before I'm meant to be celebrating Thanksgiving up in Canada. So I thought it was pretty cool that I finally got an episode that kind of matched where I was, because a lot of the times for TV shows, it's always going to match if it's holidays or if it's Thanksgiving. It's always going to match the American candle or calendar if it is an American show. So anything Thanksgiving related would happen at the end of November, and then December was usually Christmas stuff. So I thought it was pretty nice just for me being up north in Canada, and where my Thanksgiving's actually in October before Halloween happens. I thought it was pretty cool that I actually got to have a holiday-esque episode around the time I'm actually celebrating. So I thought that was pretty cool personally. Plus, it was just a weird coincidence too, because like I said, this episode was meant to air in March. So maybe it's just a weird twist of things, like, you know. So that was just something there that I took away from it. And then for the second storyline, for ulterior motives, I would say while she's kind of being the caretaker for the guys, behind their back, she's weakening Jack with her smoothies because she thinks he's a monster, being Lucifer's son and also being the one that killed the boy's mom, killing Mary. That she is now weakening Jack so that Sam and Dean are able to overpower him and kill him. When she brings that up, that kind of clues Dean in on the fact that, oh, you kind of went full Ratchet there. I don't know the extent of that reference. I should probably look it up though, but he says that, but I'm with her when she says she doesn't recognize the reference. But then that gets him stuck and locked up with Jack. So then when Sam comes home and finds out that Jack has taken control over Dean, he at least is smart enough not to combat Mrs. B about it. Instead, he tries to play along, and then he gets a call out to Dean to say, like, what the hell do we do, kind of a thing. But anyways, Mrs. B stops targeting Jack once she is told that he is actually meant to save the world. So, and also the fact that if they kill Jack, Sam claims that if she kills Jack, then that's only harming Sam and Dean as opposed to protecting them, like she claims that she's doing. So it's a little interesting there. I mean, it's not a surprise that she wouldn't have turned bad. It's just more of like waiting, how would she turn bad? But it seemed more of like on a protective level. She just wasn't understanding, and she was just viewing it from the wrong spot. At one point, I thought she might turn on Sam and Dean if she viewed Jack as being a monster. I was worrying that maybe Sam and Dean might bring it like Jack was no different. Like, they've all done some terrible things, and then she might have turned on them because of those terrible things, as opposed to thinking that Jack kind of brainwashed them. So that was kind of something that was going through my head as well. The last scene of the episode, though, shows that Sam tells Jack that he believes in him and that he's the only one that can complete this mission to stop God, just before Dean comes in with his homemade birthday cake for Jack. And it's very different from the one that Mrs. B made, but Jack very much appreciates the gesture because Dean actually made the cake himself, kind of a thing. So I thought that was pretty sweet. So that is something there. Tidbit-wise, though, I will say we do find out that Dean has Scooby-Doo boxers when he meets Mrs. B for the first time, and she's folding said boxers. Definitely a surprise there. Plus, also, we get the return of that purplish pink nightgown that Dean says was a gift from Mrs. B, but it's actually kind of a callback to when we got to see the Scooby-Doo crossover, and Dean was kind of wearing the exact same nightgown when he was in the Scooby-Doo world. So that is something there. We do also get a very disturbing callback with Sam getting his fingernails kind of pulled. That tends to be the go-to torture technique for Sam, first seen in that Christmas episode in season 3. So that's something that Mrs. B kind of had to deal with it. I don't really feel too good for Jared having to go through those prosthetics and that stuff, but or however they do it. So there's that. But another tip is that Sam actually goes on a date with Elaine since she's back in town. We don't see Elaine though, but we do see like Sam's side of preparing and like getting ready to go kind of a thing. Also, Dean's commentary on why he didn't call Sam immediately about Mrs. B, because he kind of thought that Sam would be getting lucky with Elaine. So there's that. It's Elaine or Eileen? Sorry if I don't pronounce that right. But there's that. We have Dean also calling Jack a millennial, but also expressing to Jack that he's trying to get past Jack being the one to kill Mary, but it's proving a lot harder for Dean, but he's still trying. So we do have that conversation there between them. We also see the return of Dean and his grenade launcher, as well as Sam using Thor's hammer. It's the ending shot of the montage when they kick down the barn door. We see them coming in with these two weapons, which I thought was pretty random, but then also where else would you not have them? I just didn't think Sam still had the hammer, so that was something. And then also we find out that telescope in the very back of the library portion of the bunker, we always see, but we never see them around there or using it. We find out that it's an interdimensional geoscope, which was working at full power with Mrs. B's power, but when Dean said he looked through it and saw nothing, Mrs. B commented on the fact that, oh, that wasn't good. So maybe that's just further proof that Chuck is destroying galaxies a lot faster than they thought, maybe. I don't know, but there's that. Now, when it comes to end tally or death tally, this was kind of a little different just because we only really see 3 deaths on screen, but they weren't the main deaths of the episode, if that makes sense. Like, or they didn't tie in with the main case, if it were. So we got the 2 vampires on screen that came up from the monster radar pointing out to the vampire nest. And then anytime they went on a hunt during the whole montage bit, we don't see what those creatures are. We just see them busting down the door. We get a mention of what one of the creatures were during one of Mrs. B's little quick debriefings to Sam, but we don't actually see the monster. So 2 vampires decapitated on screen. And then through the film reel that Jack finds about Mrs. B, we see a member of the Thule Society getting their head ripped off by Mrs. B in the 1950s under Cuthbert's instruction. So technically an on-screen kill, but it wasn't of the present day, and it wasn't part of the main thing because Mrs. B wasn't killed off. So I thought that was pretty interesting in regards to the death tally. So there's that. Moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, I guess kind of the fact that Mrs. B survived, essentially. That was kind of a shock. But it's also kind of nice how their goodbyes happened. So I guess that's something there. But another thing was the fact that finding out that the bunker wasn't actually at full power the whole time we've been there since season 8. To find out that it's just been on standby mode was just like, wow. Because I figured, okay, they're at limited resources because of the fact that the bunker is from the 50s. But then to find out that no, it could have done a lot more because of this wood nymph's power just escalates it. It's just like, wow. They've really been just getting by when it comes to the bunker kind of a thing. So that was a shock there, finding that out. But I wonder if that's a question. I'll bring that up later. But familiar faces. Really the only 3 regulars are Sam, Dean, and Jack. But the familiar face does come up in Magnus, who was introduced in season 9, the Blade Runners episode, when Dean gets his hands on the first blade for the first time. So Magnus is aka Cuthbert St. Clair. He's the one that actually recruited, quote unquote, Mrs. B and convinced her not to go back home, but instead convinced her to join the Men of Letters and help them with their cause to eliminate evil. So he was the familiar face. kind of figured with the way that they were, they put him in the recap sequence in the beginning. But yeah, plus you also kind of get reminded of the fact that he was part of the warding system, or the spell master that put in the warding system at the bunker. So there's that. But moving on to the top 3 favorite moments. First one has to be the holiday montage. Like I said before, it was really great to see them, what it's like for them to celebrate holidays when they didn't have anything to worry about or to dampen their moods, because even Sam said they're not really holiday people. But then to see them be in a mindset where they can celebrate and they can fully immerse themselves in the experience, it was great to see that happiness among them. And I can only imagine how filming that must have been, because there was no talking, like there was no audio of their conversations. It's just like more of like if you were to watch a scene from outside a window and you don't hear anything happening inside. That's kind of what was happening, because it was happening over a score of a soundtrack. So it would have been, it could have been like they could have just run, oh, we're filming, and it's just like have a go at it, have fun with the holidays. So it was really interesting to see not only Sam and Dean take part in the holidays that they've just left forgotten, but then also to have Jack have his first real experiences with these holidays, which I thought was pretty cool. Another favorite I did have was just Dean's excitement over the small things that Mrs. B did for him, especially when he was the first to want her to leave to begin with. So his excitement over the certain foods that she would make, his excitement over having the packed lunches, his excitement over that new nightgown thing, that excitement over the fact that she fixed his broken TV in the Dean cave. It was just like, it was like a kid on Christmas morning every time Dean found something out. And then when it was just more heartbreaking when he's like, when Mrs. B mentions the fact that like, I have Jack trapped and ready for you to kill him, and he's just, and Dean, his face deflated. It's like, oh, that's where the other shoe dropped. And it's kind of like, we had a good thing going, but like you had to do this kind of. It's like he was waiting for that. It's like kind of like this is why we don't have nice things kind of a bit. But it was just great to see the excitement while it lasted, if that makes sense. So there's that. Another favorite I did have was Jack's separate conversations he had with both Sam and Dean. The whole interaction between Dean and Jack when they were stuck in the dungeon, how Dean was truthful with Jack about how it's going to be difficult to try to forgive him, but he's trying. And then also just to have Jack have this full belief in Dean's plan, even though it knocked him on his ass by the power of the handcuffs. So that was something. And then Jack to just confide in Sam about whether or not he believes that he can do this, and Sam saying that like, if that you have to, like, you're the only one who can, and he's gonna stand by him for that kind of a thing. So even though this whole episode Jack seemed like he didn't want to say anything, he only started opening up with Mrs. B, and then later on he opened up between Sam and Dean. It felt like it was a conversation that needed to be had. I'm glad that he did have it, because again, Jack has a soul, so there's a lot more emotions rolling through him that he has to deal with in preparation for this final battle. So that's something there. And then a side favorite, I will say, it was really fun seeing the bunker at its full power, but it was fun while it lasted. I know it makes sense why they had to get rid of that, and how Mrs. B leaving was the way to do that, because then, like Dean said, if they had the monster radar that could just tell them when to find the monster, instead of going through the whole investigation of trying to figure out who it is and trying to get to them before someone else gets killed. Like, yes, that's more efficient and it would save a lot of lives, but so like that'd be great for a fanfic if we could keep that full powered bunker going on. But as a show, that kind of deflates a lot of the episodes, where a majority of the episode is us going through the case with them and going through the investigation and them trying to figure out who the identity of who this creature is or what this creature is, kind of a thing. So I can understand why needing to power down the bunker was necessary, but it was fun while it lasted for sure. And I just realized too, though, that we don't actually get any research about the wood nymph. We are just told what she is, and then we just see what she does with her powers throughout. But we don't talk about any mythology on the wood nymph. And I don't recall if we ever I know we've dealt with nymphs before, but there could be different types of nymphs. So I don't know if there's anything different with a wood nymph kind of a thing. You know what I mean? So I found that kind of odd too, now that I think about it. So that's something there. But moving on to top 3 peeved moments, it's really a small peeve, and that was the fact that Cass wasn't there to celebrate the holidays with Jack and the Winchesters. I kind of would have been interesting to see an Angel's approach who's lived through many of these celebrations but never actually got to experience it on a personal level before. It would have been interesting that way. But then I could kind of understand why they wouldn't have Cass there, because he probably might have been more suspicious of Mrs. B before Jack became suspicious, if that makes sense. But yeah, it would have been fun seeing Cass celebrating Christmas, him going through Thanksgiving, Halloween, 4th of July, and then just Sam's birthday and stuff, and just his own commentary about it. Kind of wish she got to experience that. So that was the only peeve there. But moving on to random questions very quickly, I only have 2. My first one is, during the whole holiday montage thing, like I said, I love it, but the question I had was whether or not this whole montage was meant to span over the course of days, maybe weeks, depending on where the monster radar beeped between each location. Like, I don't know if that was a day's drive or a few days drives or such, or if it was meant to be them following the actual calendar. So therefore, they've been with Mrs. B for at least a year then. But definitely, we are in 2020. That's something there, which I should talk about in a moment. But that was something too, because I can see if they were just randomly picking specific traditions, and then with each, like, maybe it a day or two turnaround between each case, and maybe it would span 2 weeks, but I wasn't really sure, just because traditions or holidays are calendar based, and usually that tells us, like, oh, Christmas episode, our characters are in December. Oh, Sam's birthday, our characters must be on May 2nd. Or Halloween, it's the end of October. Like, you know what I mean? So I was trying to figure out which version it's meant to be, if it's just random holidays in the span of like a week, or if it was actually following the calendar. Plus, also, in regards to them confirming that it's 2020 for them in the show, again, I don't agree with that. It should be 2022. So that's something there. I also did a video during the 6-month break. I'll put a card for it up below or up above. And it's pretty much trying to track what the actual ages of Sam and Dean are. And I have it chronologically. I have it, chronologically, narratively, and mentally. Their ages, because let's be realistic. There are at least you can consider them to be 3 different ages. But the chronological and the narrative timelines are 2 very different years. Chronologically refers to the air date, so it makes sense that they would say 2020 because it is airing in 2020. But narratively, it should be 2022, just because of the 2 one-year time jumps that happened within the middle of the show back in end of season 5 and end of season 7. So if you want to go check that out a little more, check out that video, cards up above, for that. But moving on to my second question is the fact that if Mrs. B leaves the bunker, does her absence weaken the wardings placed to protect the bunker, or are they still going to be intact, and it's just the facilities of the bunker that won't be running at full power, like the geoscope or the monster radar? So that's a question there. But moving on to predictions very quickly, let's go into the promo for 1515. We have, apparently there's going to be a case where they have to find a powerful being, and Cass tells the brothers that they can't just go charging in. I'm wondering if they're both hunting the exact same thing or not. But I saw an angel falling kind of from like the end of 823 when the heaven was locked up and the angels were falling. I had that picture of it, so I'm not sure if we're going to be hunting down an angel again or not, or if it's going to be a powerful being that's completely brand new. But also we see Cass and Jack hunting together, and then we also get Cass pretty much getting ready to tell Dean something important that he's been keeping from the brothers. And I really think this is where he tells Dean about his deal with the empty, about how that he remember when he saved Jack from dying the first time, he pretty much he swapped his spot with Castiel, and how the empty is going to take Cass when he is the happiest. So I think that's what Cass is going to be telling Dean, I think. I mean, he's got it to get the emotional response that we've seen in the promos for these final episodes. I feel like that's going to be the conversation for sure, which is about time that they find out. But then also it's like for them to know that not all of them is guaranteed safety after this final battle. I don't know. But anyways, the synopsis though for the episode reads that Castiel and Jack work a case involving members of a local church. Meanwhile, Sam and Dean go off in search of Amara. This episode is also directed by Matt Cohen, aka Young John Winchester. So that's something there. So definitely two different cases going on in this episode. But it will be interesting to see Cass and Jack working together, because I've seen photos and it looks like Jack is taking after Cass when it comes to being an FBI agent for the first time, which I thought was pretty cute. But it'll be very interesting to see where these two different stories go to, because I'm assuming they're going to go for Amara to try to, I don't know, pick her brain. I don't think they're going to try to kill her in this episode. And then Jack and Cass are going to try to find, maybe their case is going to be connected to a way to stop God or something. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But that is pretty much it, guys. So what do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. We are in the final stretch of it. I don't think we're going to have any hiatuses. I think they're going to run all the final 7 episodes straight through. So we're in for, like, I'm excited to see what's next, but then I'm also very terrified to get that much closer to the ending. Because it's just like, yeah, it's like I don't want it to end, but then I kind of want new episodes, you know? So we'll have to wait and see about that. But please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about it. What do you think they have in store for us in these final episodes? What do you hope to see happen? I would love to hear it in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I reblog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place. Go check that out. I did update it during my break between my semesters just last week. I will have to try to keep up with it now that Supernatural is back and bringing out new content. Otherwise, I'll be making notes. Also, WordPress account, link for that is down below. Anything I post on WordPress is a little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress as well. Also, Live Journal, link for that is down below. I do jot noted recaps of the episode as I watch them for the first time. I kind of forgot that I did this until I realized, oh, wait, I need more extensive notes than I normally do. But I've been doing it since season 6. I'm not going to stop when I only have 7 episodes left to do. So it's like, pull through. But yeah, if you want to check that out, the link for Live Journal is down below as well. It usually helps whenever I'm trying to go back and see what I've missed in regards to the episode. But now that I've found that I have PVR now, so now I can record the episode and just watch it afterwards if it's something I've missed. So I'm still going to do it. But there is that. But otherwise, that is pretty much it. Since it's been 6 months since you are here strictly for my Supernatural videos, little update in the self. Again, check out the video I did about the ages of Sam and Dean. The true ages I believe are for Sam and Dean. The link for that would have been in a card in the video earlier. Also, I'm in my term 5 of 6 for screenwriting. So I'm now getting into the nitty gritty of writing my own original material. So that might cause delays for Tumblr, just a heads up. I'll try to still, I'm really going to be trying to stick to the video schedule, but because COVID, really Supernatural is the only thing that's now airing that I usually do videos on, so you should be good there. But until the meantime, for next week, I am going to give you a recommendation, and that is Julie and the Phantoms. Put a card up to if you really want to know what my season 1 thoughts were. Spoiler alert for that, but if you want to check that out, video card. I also did a second video for Julie and the Phantoms in regards to the songs, and it's the first time I was doing the screen saving of me doing a tier rating. So I kind of want to do something for Supernatural in regards to that as well, but and that kind of presentation, I should say. But again, Julie and Phantoms, check it out. It's a supernatural musical comedy. Only 9 episodes, no more than 30 minutes each. You could pretty much get them done in like 5 hours. It's like if you're really into the dark and nitty gritty stuff of shows and you just want something light and something to bop your head to, and you just want to forget about the troubles of the world, just watch Julie and the Phantoms. Like, I definitely didn't expect myself to watch it, but it's been less than a month, or it's been exactly a month now that it's aired, once this video is actually posted, and I've already watched the series 4 times already. Like, the songs are stuck in my head. I just love the characters, and it's just like, after being in the dark of a lot of shows, it's like it's really good to just have a nice, happy-go-lucky type of a show to watch. So again, Julie and the Phantoms on Netflix. Go watch it. Go tell your friends. Spread the word so we can get a season 2. Because I need some fluffiness in my life right now, especially if Supernatural is going to be ending in 7 weeks. So there is that. And I'm just going to end it there before my throat really goes dry because I can feel it. But you know the drill. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the next episode. Because like I said, we're in the final stretch of the show. And come see what I have to say. Because like, there's going to be emotions for sure. I don't know what kind, but there's going to be emotions. But yeah, so thank you so much again. Until next time, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Please be safe during this pandemic. Please wear a mask, sanitize, and be physically distant, but you can still be social with virtually or just keeping the distance. Plus, also to all my Canadian viewers, happy Thanksgiving for this coming weekend. So until then, till next week, guys, bye for now.